and it'll take you right to our landing page, which will have where our classes are and our consulting services. Now, we service Brevard. If someone comes to us from outside of Brevard, then we would probably refer them to the local SBDC.
The area they're from. Okay.
Or they could just do in their local area. They could go to the SBDC website and look in their local area. I think you enter your zip code, and it's going to take you to who the area rep would be.
Okay. That's good to know. And I know you guys have a Facebook page here, too. I know that there's a lot of great information there. So if you're on Facebook, and go to the So Social Radio Show, I do have a link from your information. Again, there's a top pin post there, and you can click on their Facebook page, and from there they have a link directly to the website. So, which then you do provide a lot of the different workshops and such. So, what are some of the things that are coming up? Do you know of classes that you're teaching? I know you have some ongoing classes all the time, and you don't just teach them at the Melbourne campus. You go throughout the whole Brevard County area? We'll
go to Cocoa and occasionally Chamber of Commerce's, both Titusville, we've had a class up there, a couple classes, Melbourne Chamber of Commerce as well. So we'll go out there. If we have enough people to support a class, and in fact, some cases we've done it with We Ventures, a women's business center as well. Typical classes coming up, we'll have classes on market research coming up, which is really important, one of our popular classes. I teach that with another small business owner, and we'll teach it together. So he brings the relevancy of the small business, what he went through, and I bring kind of the overall consulting perspective. That's coming up in March. We have a risk management class, which happened to be our most popular class 2 days before Hurricane Matthew hit. So our disaster planning class was on overflow basis with the eye of the hurricane a few hundred miles offshore.
I think you did one at the Small Business Council meeting at the Melbourne Regional Chamber.
I did, at the Chamber. That was a very popular one. I'll probably do it in March, and nobody will attend because the skies are sunny.
Everybody was panicking.
It just shows you a lot of classes and information is very much top of mind for the small business owner.
Definitely.
They're locked into the business, and you've got to give them top of mind discussions. That's going to attract them.
Well, the more relevant you can make it, which is top of mind, the more they're going to believe what you're saying, the more they're going to come back for more counseling, the more effort they're going to put into building their business on putting that together. How long does it normally take to get an appointment with either you or a member of your team?
It'll take a couple of weeks, usually a couple of weeks out. If they need something very immediate, they can send an email or a phone call. And they might have a specific question that needs to be immediately addressed. With the registration, we'll address it. It happens a lot. And then we'll have a follow-up meeting. So that can happen quickly. The follow-up meeting will take about 2 weeks to get on the calendar, roughly right. And I try to keep the calendar so I can give the people enough time that I could prepare for the session and then send them follow-up work from the session. So usually I don't have back-to-back consulting meetings. I try to make sure I build client relationships, and I build it by providing with the information on a very timely basis and keeping in touch with them as needed.
And you mentioned that those businesses that are really seeking some great assistance from you, you don't really have a time frame. I mean, as far as when they come in and want to work with you, they're pretty much, if they want to continue working with you for a few months, do you help them put marketing plans together, or do you actually assist them and consult with them where they're doing the work?
Well, a little bit. I will provide information. So the secondary research we actually will conduct. Doing some financial assessments, QuickBooks consulting we'll actually do. Many clients have QuickBooks. I'll take their file and go through it and read it and help them for it.
Oh, wow.
A lot of it, though, is the teach the kid the fish concept. I will teach them, instruct them, give them the tools, the templates they need, the information, walk them through it, and then critique what they have coming back. But I really want them to do it. Perfect example would be a business plan. I will take them through what is really important for the business plan, and usually I advocate starting with the marketing section and the customer in view first, and then building it from there.
I like that, yeah.
And then I'll teach them, I'll take them through, and I'll give them an example of a business plan in their industry and show them the data and the specificity that's in it. Then I'll give them a tool and research information and then ask them to go do it because I want them to be educated. They need to be the world's expert on their business. No one can know more about their business than they do. Mm-hmm. And then when they'll send me back the business plan, I'll critique it, show them what's right, what they may need to improve, what they really did well at, etc. But, kind of to teach the kid to fish and coach them along the way. Mm-hmm. I won't ever write anyone's business plan for them because I think I'm doing actually a disservice for them. Then it's my plan. It's not really theirs.
I like that.
And if someone asked him a question, sure, he'd say, well, go talk to the SBDC. Is that a good answer?
No, because if you're personally involved, you have a stake in it. You're going to know more than just reading a business plan and say, okay, well, this month I'm supposed to do this much revenue, and my labor cost is supposed to be this much and that much, and marketing's here and there. But when it's, I guess, inculcated into your being,
right?
You live it and breathe it every day, and it allows you to maneuver with whatever situation is placed in front of you.
Exactly right. And there's a greater chance that they'll keep it updated as well, because a business plan is obsolete as soon as it comes off the printer.
Isn't that the truth?
With the way information changes. And so the purpose of the business plan, there's always going to be an equity investor or a loan officer who will request it, but the real purpose of it is educate the business owner. What they know, what they don't know, and information to build it and have a logical flow to it. And then something they have in their mind when they're making decisions, the impact. If I have a business plan, I know the impact of my marketing activities on the revenue. And I know from that customer activity what kind of size cost structure I need to have. And you're thinking that way. Mm-hmm. You have an integrated systems-like thinking. Mm-hmm. If you don't approach it with the business plan, you see things as a lot of side-off activities in isolation.
And the priority is never there because it is that one-off type of a situation. Well, and that gets into the get to it pile,
right?
Which is a never-ending process,
which gets lost. And there's always a customer-employee issue that's the top of the mind of the day, and urgency. The firefighting that has to be done immediately, and it's just constant firefighting. And never get to the strategic, longer-term view, which really builds your business valuation.
You brought up to me an extremely interesting point. When you're dealing with a solopreneur or a very small partnership, how do you know when you're at that strategic point that it's time to bring on more staff or an extra person in a micro business like that? Are there typical scenarios that happen in the management process that you need to keep an eye out for? Or?
Well, one on a metric,
I know
there's actually a number of ways to approach it. One metric is sales per employee, comparing that to the industry and to the benchmarks. So if I looked at a manufacturing company, I might see they need to have $200,000 sales per employee. And if you find a company's coming in that's consistently above the $200,000 sales per employee for a particular industry, I'm using this as an example, and they're facing constant overtime and the customer backlog is there, well, they're obviously going to need to hire people. They're going to need to increase their fixed cost. They're going to need to increase their infrastructure. It's called the relevant range. They're going to need to address the relevant range of their infrastructure and take it up a notch, which most likely would mean labor, or conversely, automation, labor-saving devices, and efficiency improvements.
Yeah, the yin and the yang on labor. It's a tough situation to deal with, especially from the personal perspective.
Right. Well, that's a good question. It's a typical question. And then the corollary, what's the right labor cost? What should I be paying people? And then we'll help them with, and in the Bureau of Labor Economic Analysis, we'll go to a U.S. website and show them for this area, show them the typical wages. And you need to be on top of it because the wages are a lot different than they were 3 years ago.
Oh, yes.
In fact, I don't know of anybody who's really paying minimum wage anymore. The minimum wage is kind of an artifact.
It really is.
No, mainly back in my age when I got started working, minimum wage was $1 an hour, so I'll date myself really good there. But, it was for us teenagers, college students, to get the first job, the first experience at being accountable and being held to a system that we were working within on that. And, it was good for the purpose it served. It got me some business experience. I learned how to deal with other associates that worked in the business. I learned how to deal with management all through that whole process in high school and college and doing that, working full-time and part-time jobs. So yeah, it was extremely valuable to me, and I'm glad you put it that way.
Had a different purpose then. And now
Yeah,
businesses are. Yeah, I know that when we started our business, we brought on, with our web design company, we actually brought on students that were going to Kaiser College. And I know a number of businesses that would bring them on pro bono, but we insisted on paying them. I think we paid them $8 an hour, which was above minimum wage then. But we wanted them to be accountable and to feel that responsibility that they were actually contributing and helping grow the company. We had a whole different premise behind it. And then a few of them, after they graduated, we brought them on, full time and doubled their wage. So again, they were able to be a contributor to the growth of the company and feel more accountable, and also have, I guess they were more. What's the word I'm looking for? They felt they were really a part of the family, so to speak, with our business. And at that time, we were actually started our business in our home, so they were coming into my home, my condo.
If there was one advice to leave the small business owners now, as I see it, is really pay attention to that the concept of the national immigration policy with respect to the minimum wage and the labor situation in the United States. Because if the economy continues to grow from a labor perspective right now, continues to grow and, in fact, is stimulated for growth, and there is a more restrictive immigration policy, that's going to be a tremendous pressure on the wage situation.
And these are questions that you can help them, and if they have and they need to address those, you can help them with those as well. Now, do you ever, when a company comes to you that is really feeling that they're like stuck, and perhaps they need to have more knowledge on how to price their products and services so that they are staying within, what the other their competitors in the area are, and because I know a lot of people in other areas of the country charge a lot more than we do because they live in a different area. So do you find businesses coming and talking to you about that as well?
Yeah, pricing is a big topic. I mean, the whole concept is understand your value proposition with respect to pricing.
True.
Know that what you're pricing is a diamond and not a rock. Understand your pricing level. So we'll take them through pricing strategies and pricing models. And actually, I'll bring into line an SBA course. SBA has a great course on pricing. It's a 30-minute course, a video course, and with corresponding printed material and models that they can follow. So generally, I'll have somebody educate themselves a little bit on pricing, then we'll come back and we'll look at pricing. And usually I'll factor in a competitive analysis when doing the pricing.
Oh, very good.
I'll analyze the competition, and I'll look at the competition's margins and everything we know about that, and we'll bring that into the pricing discussion. And then we'll want them to look at their point-of-sale system, whatever, and their products, their product offering, what is fast-moving, what is slow-moving, et cetera, because that should come into the pricing discussion. Then we'll try to decide where they have pricing power or where they don't have pricing power, where they have the ability to raise prices and what level they should raise it, and where they may even have to cut prices. So a lot goes into it. That's kind of a model, more of a model that you have to do, a strategy with a supporting model.
And you've contributed to our listeners to so much different information. So I just want to reiterate where they can get in touch with you, and where they can find out what upcoming classes that are out there and where they're going. And I know you have an actual website. It's easternflorida.edu/go/SBDC. And I believe if they pull that up online, you'll actually go to your webpage here in the Brevard County area.
That's correct. It'll go to our landing page. They'll see a picture of me. They'll have. We try to edit it out. I photoshopped it, so I'm 30 years younger. I'm on a surfboard. No, just kidding. But they'll see a picture. They'll find success stories so they can see what we've done for other clients. They'll see our classes. They'll see a little video that talks about the SBDC, and then they'll have an area to the right-hand, lower right-hand side where they can engage us for consulting.
Yep, it's got a lot of great information here. So definitely, I will post this actual link on the So Social Radio Show. I do have it already on the WCN Interactive So Social Radio Show page, so they can go to WCNinteractive.com and click on So Social Radio Show on the guest. And a lot of great information to find out more about Marty. And all that I didn't even barely even read his bio. It's a great bio. I learned a lot about him when I gathered all this information, and